bucking up. It's episode 15 of Cinema Curse. Send to bed those parents, because this episode's for teens and tweens. We're talking about two 2023 PG-13 Blumhouse horror hits, Five Nights at Freddy and M3GAN. And more horror made for people who aren't adults. I am your wicked game master, Lloyd Crews. The Joey Chestnut of talking about movies, Edwin Gomez, is not here yet, but I've been told repeatedly that he will be. And also joining us, rejoining us is...
What's up? This is Mortensen-Agnew. I'm an animation writer and fan, and sporting here my... Jefferson Twilight Blackula Hunter t-shirt, courtesy of the Venture Brothers Shirt Club. And when I was a kid, the thing that scared me the most were Goosebumps book covers.
And...
Hey everyone, I am Scott Heaton. I just love movies and go to see them. And
It's true.
hanging out with my friends and going to see them. And when I was a kid, I was afraid of Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was...
Ooh, I was so scared of that I didn't really watch it. It was the commercials that freaked me out.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm a little bit older than you, so I could see it being like actually too scary for like you when it was on. Where like this was definitely like, okay, I can get through this.
It was funny. It was kind of like Goosebumps, and I don't know if we're talking about that later, but like I was so scared of the Goosebumps covers. That I couldn't read the books. I was just like, I had to put them away. I couldn't. And then I remember one time I was locked out of my house because my mom just forgot to give me a key. So I was like at a neighbor's house, sitting in the living room, and one of the kids had a Goosebumps book out, and I was like, I stared at it, and I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to conquer my fear. It's just a book. It can't hurt me. So I picked it up and I read it, and it was very funny.
Yeah.
They usually are. Yeah.
Goosebumps books, it turns out, are not actually terribly scary. They're just very, very funny, and the covers are terrifying.
They're spooky.
Yeah.
They're spooky. They're not scary. They're spooky.
Yeah.
Sometimes spoopy, even.
There's stuff in those that scared me definitely for sure as a kid. Like 100,000%. We'll talk about that more later. My normal intro stuff. Let me check all this shit I got here. Golden rules. Thanks to YouTube Marina Sakamoto and her band Shunkin for the use of their song Curse off of the EP She Nods for our intro. And it's been 110 days since the SAG strike started and the AMPTP still sucks. And yeah, let's talk about let's Freddy it up. I think it's me and Scott on this one. I got this beautiful background. High quality JPEG.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Is that from Dick the Birthday Boy?
No, this is Chuck E. Cheese. That was Showbiz Pizza Bear.
Okay.
Which are completely different.
Extremely different.
Scott, do you want to give a summary of Five Nights at Freddy?
No.
Will you?
Josh Hutcherson plays a dude who gets a job at a defunct restaurant, pizzeria in the style of Chuck E. Cheese that is old animatronics. These animatronics come to life and cause shenanigans. And then for some reason there's a whole like Dream Warriors subplot that's like it has to do with the movie, but also I'm just like, oh, all right, I guess you had to fill 90 minutes. Was my thought. I mean, that's it. That's all there is to the movie. It's not deep.
Yeah, my general reaction was like, this was all right. Like, I didn't dislike it necessarily, but I liked the animatronics. Were cool, and
that was Jim Henson Company, and they did a great job on the Fred. I don't even know what they're called. Like, do they have names?
They do have names.
They all have names.
I know they individually have names, but like, are they like when together they called the?
I guess the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Showbiz Band.
Okay,
I'm sure some 17-year-old who grew up on these jump scares, like, these fucking idiots don't know.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing I should like.
They're the River Bottom Nightmare Band.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
That's it.
Well, this is where I'm coming from. Is that I have never heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. I was not familiar with the video game. So I had no idea that this was like a very huge thing that people were like jumping onto, and this was an adaptation of a very popular IP. My thought was kind of the same as Connor's. I think I liked it a little less. Like, I was generally bored. I remember thinking like, okay, well, like my nephew, I could show this to my nephew. I wouldn't suggest it to anyone that doesn't have like a kid to show it to. Certainly if you find yourself in like, if you're like me and you're not familiar with this IP, and you've just heard of this for the first time, I would say this movie's probably not for you.
What about people like me who have read the Five Nights at Freddy's wiki and came out more confused than when I went in?
I don't think this movie will clear anything up. It was fine. I also will say I'd not go to a very good screening of it just because it was like Tuesday at 4:00, and I was the oldest person in there without a child. And like some kid was watching YouTube the entire time to the point where like I kind of wanted to say like, please turn that off. But I was also like, I actually thought about leaving just because I was like, this is not a very good, but I was also like, I'm not going to come back to watch this again. So like, I guess I didn't care. If this was Killers of the Flower Moon, I think I would have said something, but I don't like, obviously that wouldn't have been the case.
If this was Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese himself would run up and jump kick that phone out of somebody's hand.
Yeah. But like, this is just like, okay, I understood you were babysitting your kids. And I will say the children in the audience, when they weren't watching their phones, were pretty invested in the movie, especially when the animatronics were on screen. And we're kind of talking about the movie. There's like the main 5 animatronics, but then there's like a villain animatronic at the end. And when he was like revealed, I heard like the kids like, oh, like really, like it's him. And great. So yeah, I don't know. What do you want to say, Connor? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think I essentially agree. I think I'm a little more positive. I think we had a better screening. I think so. We had a screening. It was like the night it came out, and like there were people like actually engaged with it, and so especially during the few sequences where it really does kind of pick up. Yeah. Which I would say is like there's a sequence with a bunch of kills towards the middle that's pretty fun. There's a sequence like 2/3 of the way through that resembles like a slumber party that I think was pretty fun as well, and like weird, and it kind of picked up, and it was fun to watch, but it's definitely too long for how little it's
not well done, and it's poorly paced. Yeah, you're right. It's an hour and 45 minutes, and it just slogged through.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting because my understanding is they kept the game mechanic of it's 5 individual nights at Freddy Fazbear's Showbiz Pizza, which like would kind of kill the momentum of the movie if he can if it's like every night he can just get out. Like 2 or 3 nights at Freddy's seems like it's you'd go for one night and then you get a reprieve, and then maybe you're really locked in the next night. That seems like it could have worked better. That
didn't bother me so much. What bothered me was the whole subplot. Josh Hutcherson's whole character. I guess we're gonna do spoilers now.
It's hard. I guess in terms of true spoilers, maybe we should just refrain from talking. There's a couple of identity reveals in the third act. We won't talk about those two big identity reveals, and we can maybe, leave out any sort of resolution stuff. But I think anything other than that we can talk about.
Yeah. Like the whole story, like his whole story, other than just I've got this job as a night watchman, is that when he was a child, his brother was kidnapped in front of him, essentially. Like they were at a family picnic at park, and like the kid wandered off, and then when Josh Hutcherson kind of went to find him, he kind of saw the kid get grabbed and put in a van, but he can't remember like anything about it, like the license plate or anything. And so he's trying to like go back to the dream and try to remember, and he believes it's like inside him. He just is trying to unlock it. And like it just seemed like a lot of plot that had nothing to do. It eventually kind of like it gets revealed of like what this has to do with the animatronics coming to life, but it just felt like we were spending a lot of time not watching animatronic characters come to life, which was, I assume, what people paid the ticket to go to see.
Yeah,
as a non-fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, I remember thinking, if I came here to see these animals, I would be disappointed. Like they're supporting characters at best.
It's especially I think strange, and and let me be like mathematically exact. I haven't even looked at it in a minute, but I have. Why isn't this ranked anymore? What the fuck? I have a list. Whenever I watch a movie in a year, I have a list and I rank it by how much I liked it. And I would say that out of the 43 movies this year, I would put it in like, I would maybe move this around the further I get away from it, but it'd probably be around like 30-ish or something. And so like there's a handful of movies that I just truly didn't enjoy, and a handful of other movies that I would put this in of like, there's stuff I liked. I liked when the lady got chomped. I think that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I liked that weird slumber party shit. I liked what's his fucking name? Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, he was good.
I thought that there was some good setup and payoff in terms of like the things, in terms of the way it was written. But I do agree that it's weird that he has essentially kind of 3 drives, and it just seems like too many. One can be sub to the other to a certain degree, but he's got his brother, which even without the going back into dreams thing by itself could be a drive. You know what I mean? That he has these horrible memories of his brother, and then when he's at Five Nights at Freddy's and falling asleep, it's like affecting him more. Secondly, there is the second part of that, which is that he's trying to find the killer also. And then third, and probably the one that works the best in the movie, because it's the one that actually directly impacts like the plot and what's happening, is he has to take care of his parents also died, and he has to now take care of his little sister.
Which, like, I'm sorry, the math just doesn't work on.
Yeah, it feels like it should have been his daughter or something, right? That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. Or Megan, it could have been niece. Like
like that. But like, it did seem weird that it's just like, okay, he has a sister that's a child, and he's in a the math just didn't work out. Then, like I said.
But
I remember thinking it was a lot, like, it was more closer to horror than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was going to be a slightly spookier Night at the Museum. Like, I thought it was going to be silly, and it's really not. At least in tone, it's don't get me wrong, it's very silly, but like in tone, no, it definitely hews more to like horror. Like even the dream stuff with like the kids like in there, it's like this is legit like weird, creepy horror stuff, which brings me back to like my nephew who is 10. I would show him this. I think he'd be entertained. Like he wouldn't, more so than Megan, honestly, which I also liked, which we'll talk about in a second, which is, but yeah, like it's fine for that. And like, he might get a little like creeped out and a little scared, but ultimately he'll have a great time. So it's that like part of the reason I get too upset and like I was just like, well, this is not funny. I'm a 39-year-old man who's watching this movie.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's funny because I agree. Like I wasn't. I've seen some people react like very negatively to the movie, which has been like funny to me because like I was talking to Paul, and Paul doesn't play the games, and he hasn't seen the movie, but he's seen like people play the games, and what makes the game scary is there's this like isolation to it. But the thing is like there was no way. There's no way this movie, considering the audience the games actually have, which the games have a younger audience than a lot of horror stuff because there's not a lot of explicit aspects to it's much more like an implied spookiness than a sort of explicit traumatizing horror. And probably the better version of this does have the character more isolated, but at the same time, like the idea that would be like the version of the movie is just Josh Hutcherson and the animatronics. I mean, that'd probably be a better movie, but there's no way that version of the movie would get made. It's also just, it's funny because like, I've seen so many people like talk about their disappointment in the new film and the film in the context of like the games are the most psychologically scary thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, all right, like this is for like fucking
it's the jump scare game. It's not Silent Hill 2. Calm down.
Yeah, this is for tweens and teens, and it's fine, and people can like it, and I think there are a lot of very valid criticisms of the movie. It is evaporating from my memory and will almost certainly go down on my list as I think about it towards the end of the year. But it's also like inoffensive in a weird way, and I've been seeing people. I have never seen Willy's Wonderland, the Nick Cage ripoff movie.
I haven't either.
But I've seen reviews of it, and I've seen a lot of people with this new one saying that like, well, Willy's Wonderland already did it. And it's like, I look at scenes from Willy's Wonderland, and I'm like, this looks like such fucking shit. It looks like a fake movie that fucking idiots made. I haven't seen it, and so I can't really speak on it. I wish Brian was here because I think he would agree, back me up. I wanted to bring that point up. But
I've heard it's pretty unwatchable.
I was gonna ask what you guys thought of Willy's Wonderland if you had seen it, because Willy's Wonderland, Wally's Wonderland. Yeah,
it's very strange. I should see it just so I can have an opinion on it, just so I can have an opinion on this specific issue, because like having seen reviews of it and stuff, and clips from it, I'm like, no way is it better than this. Like maybe it's more fun. Maybe that's what it is to a certain degree, but even then, it does not look that fun. It looks like I've watched a lot of really slow, low budget garbage, where it's just people like standing around in rooms and having stupid conversations. And at the very least, Five Nights at Freddy's, it's a pretty sleepy plot at times, but there's at least like narrative happening when I'm watching the movie. There's characters. There's clearly an amount of care put into the set design and stuff. But I also like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird seeing people's like, it seems like a movie that should just be received fine, but it's gotten like, I saw someone complaining that like more kids are going to see Five Nights at Freddy's than like the new Miyazaki movie. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit.
They're children. It's fine.
Yeah. And I understand, like, okay, that's weird. I get your point, but like,
these children aren't cinephiles like us. But that's all I gotta say about Five Nights at Freddy's, frankly.
Yeah, honestly, and I think that's more
more time.
Now let's never speak of him again, and not just because we'll forget about it by next week.
Yeah. Let's move on to M3GAN.
M3GAN. Beautiful M3GAN.
Do you want to sum that one up for us, Anne?
In M3GAN, a toy scientist learns that you can't let your iPad parent your child.
Yeah.
Because your iPad will try to kill your child, and then you, or more, try to kill you for neglecting it and not loving it enough. Basically, you need to learn how to parent. Also, it's extremely funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just rewatched this actually yesterday with some friends who hadn't seen it. We did
really. That's go. What did they think?
And it was on Prime. We all had a blast with it. It was yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
I also watched it last night. I picked up the
nice
steelbooks for it, which is Thin and Beauty. Very nice. It looks like kind of like the box she comes in. It's one of the nicer steelbooks to come out.
Yeah.
Also, it had the Blu-ray. It's getting back and forth on some. Paramount doesn't include a Blu-ray.
Oh, really?
Version. It's just 4K. I found in most of theirs.
But this is Universal, right?
This is Universal, so I was able to watch it.
Nice.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was funny because the biggest thing that hyped me up for M3GAN was that it's from the same people who made movie of the year 2021 Malignant.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting is this going to be on the level of Malignant? And the answer is the first 2/3 of the last act of that movie is not as buck wild bonkers as the last act of Malignant, but the entire movie in and of itself is much better. It's a much better movie, and also the first 2 acts are fucking insane. I think the movie tells you exactly what you need to expect in its literal opening scene, which is just a commercial for that fake pooping toy. Just immediately smashes you right in. Within 5 seconds I was like, I love this movie. This is great. Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, it is definitely on the comedy horror scale. Much more of a comedy, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
With kind, I mean, it takes the horror stuff. It doesn't take the horror stuff non-seriously, in the sense that people's deaths are still played as deaths and stuff. It's not like I'm trying to think of what the right example would be, but it's definitely more. A lot of its fun comes from just how ridiculous it is, and just how it's the whole movie is just so absurd, and in a knowing way, where because from the in the real world, from the moment she turns on, people will be like, fucking get this thing away from me.
I compared it to an episode of Rick and Morty, and I think it's a very good episode of Rick and Morty, with Allison Williams' character obviously being Rick, in that she uses science to solve a problem for her, but she does it the most half-assed, just oh, I don't know how to deal with this. You deal with that. And M3GAN even has the great line is you gave me a learning mechanism which you barely understood and told me to figure it out.
Yeah.
In many ways, this movie is a monster movie, Universal monster. M3GAN never comes off as the villain. One thing when this came out, I compared it to the movies sort of with Freddy Krueger and all those stuff. In the first ones, they are the villains and they're scary, and but by the time you get to the later Freddy movies, especially, and Chucky, it's campy, and you're there for them, and obviously you want to see the deaths and stuff, and there's maybe one main character, the final girl that gets out, and you're okay, but you're there for the shtick. It feels like M3GAN went straight to the shtick right away, which is fine. I agree, it's very funny, and I think that we like M3GAN right away, as much when it starts, as awful as she is. Even the deaths, which can we get to spoiler, I guess, of who?
I think the movie's been out for over a year. It's fine.
I would say there's 3 main deaths that she does, and they're all positioned as they're certainly not innocent. They're all very spoiler, she does kill a dog, and it's one of the few movies where I was like, okay, I could like it's not.
We literally talked about that last night because Paul is like even more sensitive than I am to dogs dying in horror movies. I think when you're, I think a lot of people can be. I don't want to like throw in like, well, dog owners know it better, but like I do think as a dog owner, you get like extra sensitive when.
You know what? I kind of agree in that, like, because I recently got our house got a dog, and like it's like, oh, it's different now. I've seen this like. Yeah, our dog, and this happening to her. It's like, oh god, this is actually terrible.
And so
it still has no effect on me as a cat owner. But you know, I don't care at all.
I mean, to be fair, I will say this: it's not just for dogs; it's for animals, like pets. Period. Usually bum me out. But Paul specifically, when the dog showed up, was like, oh, it's a dog in a horror movie. We know what's gonna happen to this dog, and then it died. And we like talked for a minute about how like when you think about the pantheon of dog deaths in horror movies, this has got to be one of the most, if not the most justified. Like, this dog was kind of an asshole.
And then, because, like, she does horrific things. She kills a dog, and, again, spoiler, she kills a kid.
Yeah.
Like, right. A kid, but this kid is clearly set up as, like, just trigger alert, rapist in training. Like everything he does is just like, well, we can't have him do that. This is a PG-13 movie, but we can certainly, he like straddles her and slaps her across the face. Like, ugh. Yeah. So, he gets hit by a car.
Yeah. Oh, well. And did you watch?
It's okay.
Did you watch the unrated version? Because I watched that, and I'll say this: like, there's like a give and take where I liked the extra gore. But I didn't think the extra F words were bad, but it's definitely funnier in the PG-13 one where the only F word is the kid yelling at his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I assumed all the other ones, because they also mostly came from, I think it was only Ronnie Chang said, although I think M3GAN had one.
Yeah.
Which also was very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronnie Chang says like, fuck Hasbro, I think, at one point. Yeah.
But I just like, it seemed like all the fucks from Ronnie Chang were probably improvs.
Yeah.
That was like, maybe we'll use that as our one F-bomb.
Yeah.
I agree. The best one was like if I were to like watch any version, I agree. I liked the extra gore, which wasn't that much, but I could see how like it would push it to a R rating.
Yeah.
But I would still cut out all the F-bombs except for when the kid says it, because it's just that much more effective.
Or maybe
it's interesting that like go ahead.
Well, just to finish that thought, is just like, or maybe even cut out all the ones before the kid says his F-bomb.
Yeah, maybe one. Honestly, like all the Ronnie Chang ones, one from the kid and one from M3GAN would be effective. But yeah, other than like, we get the fact that he's obnoxious. Like he presents that without the need for vulgarity.
Would you want to say, Ann?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting because I hadn't thought about this point until you were talking about this right now with like all the people she kills the dog, which is out of control, and she kills the kid who's like a little rapist in training. How like the people those two kills, the out of control dog and the out of control kid are both the results of not parenting. Because this movie is about what happens when you don't parent the things in your care. Like the owner lady refuses to train the dog, refuses like, oh, you just like, Allison Williams should like board up her fence, but also fucking train your dog. Are you kidding me? Like a kid's gonna reach through here and like get her fucking arm ripped off, and she's trying to get her ball back. Like that's insane.
You could even argue that because the last two deaths, Ronnie Chang and the guy that is framed for murder, they're that's also, it's not a direct parental relationship, but it is an abstracted one.
And they're part of the M3GAN machine, who they're going to profit off of this thing of like not parenting. That is that's actually a really interesting thing, because like again, this whole movie is about like, you actually have to be involved in your kids' lives. You can't like put an iPad in front of your kid, or else they're gonna go crazy. And like, Katie pulls some scissors on that child psychiatrist when she starts having to put in the work and not just go into like the screen, quote unquote, with M3GAN. And then I disagree a little bit, Scott. I don't fully disagree, but I do disagree a little bit that M3GAN is never positioned as the villain. She is definitely presented as the toxic best friend who your daughter will not stop hanging out with. Like she's definitely a villain. But she's just a villain who's like, yeah, fuck those people. Fuck the people that she kills. But like, also, hey, it's kind of fucked up that she like won't leave your house, and you can't get her to leave your house.
Well, I think that's what makes her a great like new horror character. So many horror characters do ride that line of being of a villain and an anti-hero. And
you know what? I'm gonna make a shirt and say M3GAN did nothing wrong.
Yeah, M3GAN was right.
That's my stand by it.
Yeah, and have her do like the frame from her doing the dance.
Exactly. She just wanted to dance.
We support women's rights and women's wrongs, so on and so forth.
Her little dance, her singing.
Yeah. Oh my God. When M3GAN first started singing, I like nearly screamed laughing. It was so good. I
still remember seeing that in theaters, and like the audience, like the entire theater just like blew up when like the first time she does her song. And even then when she starts to sing Titanium, like
well,
there he is.
Who's here.
Speak of the devil. Speaking of weaponized murder dolls.
M3GAN. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie wasn't that good. I got bored by it, so I just turned it off.
Oh man,
M3GAN?
Oh my God.
No, I didn't watch M3GAN. I refused to watch it, but I watched like 40 minutes of Five Nights at Freddy, and I was like, nope.
Okay. The previous topic of conversation was actually that Five Nights at Freddy's was quite boring.
Yeah. I liked parts of it, but you know, I didn't hate it.
So we all agree that Five Nights at Freddy sucks then.
Oh, I didn't say that.
I wouldn't say it
so
sucks.
I can't vote.
Well, here's the thing now, Connor. I think it fucking sucks, Connor.
You can think it sucks. Hold on, let me resolve this with Edwin real quick. My thing is that I think it's fine. I think it's mediocre.
It's fine, Connor. I think that's some CIA shit, man.
Why do you keep accusing me of being in the CIA?
I know, Connor. Are you CIA? Are you CIA?
Wink.
You're CIA.
Wink.
I mean, I don't think it necessarily sucked, but I'm also not going to argue with anybody whose stance is that movie sucked.
Yeah.
I see their argument.
Yeah, I also do. And you refuse to watch M3GAN, even though it's a much better film. Much better.
And I was like, I would say aimed for an older audience, just in tone.
For sure. No, 100%.
Kids could still watch that, you know, like when I said like, well, if you're not familiar, if you're 39 and you've never heard of Five Nights at Freddy's, there's absolutely no reason to just watch Five Nights at Freddy's. I would recommend M3GAN to anyone, including like parents. It's like, yeah, they can handle that. Watch the PG-13 version. It might be a little intense at some parts, but like they'll be fine. And like you said, M3GAN is actually, I think, is going to be a new great horror character. They already greenlit the sequel.
Yeah.
So
why?
You haven't even seen it, Edwin. You know what, Edwin? You know what that's gonna get from me? It's gonna get one of these. That's a toilet flush, you fucker. Dumb fuck.
No, Connor, that doesn't make me better. You're fucking CIA, motherfucker.
You can't. Edwin, are you aware of the fact that whenever you talk shit about a film you haven't seen and you don't like at least acknowledge that fact, you sound like an asshole.
What is that, Connor? I'm getting high for this conversation.
All right. Just to add on to something Anne was saying earlier about M3GAN is I did like how a lot of the movie kind of plays as this like psychodrama between the three leads.
Like the part of the third act is just like that, you know, one room psychodrama between Allison Williams and M3GAN when, like, you know, they're basically like negotiating over who gets to keep Katie.
Yeah, and it helps that, like, I like that because we were talking about this when watching it last night as well, is that you know, Allison Williams and Katie are not perfect characters. Allison Williams especially is like kind of an asshole for a large portion of the movie. And, it is her fault.
That's why I compared her to Rick. She not just because she's smart, but no, she's not a good person and uses science to like mask her problems, which is actually something. Allison Williams is great at playing characters that seem put together but are on the inside quite messed up. Like,
definitely.
This is probably the most of like her three big characters of girls get out in this. She's probably the most likable here.
I mean, I would, probably. I mean, having not seen Girls, but having seen Get Out, at least at the end of this one, Allison Williams is like, I should not be a bad person. I should be a good one.
In this one, she's flawed and learns her lesson. Whereas in the last one, she's a bad person, who's just like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right.
In Girls, she's more like Megan's character, but she's someone who thinks she's got it all put together, but when you look to talk to her, you're like, oh no, you're just a mess. In their 20s, so she's good at that kind of like role. I like seeing her.
Definitely.
That's
well, if we're done, I think we're done talking about M3GAN. Great movie.
Oh my God.
I mean, Edwin, if you want to hear my pitch for the two sequels,
I want to hear your pitch for M3GAN's 2 and 3.
Okay.
M3GAN $sign and then M3GAN $sign.
Involved? Is Chucky involved at all?
No. M3GAN 2 is more than I feel like M3GAN 2 should sort of similar to like a T2 situation.
That would be my idea.
Yeah.
Just like at this point, she has to be like the protector or something. Like I know, like they had the espionage thing. I could see like a new toy comes and it's now trying to hurt Allison, and like they need to bring M3GAN back, and like essentially her viciousness becomes like good, essentially. Like now she's overprotective, but she needs to be overprotective.
Yeah, now she's Loki in Thor Ragnarok, or I guess Patrick Wilson in Aquaman 2. Or not Thor Ragnarok,
probably.
Thor 2.
Yeah.
I agree. I would almost flip it, where if the bad guy of M3GAN 2 is still, because this is, light spoilers for the end of M3GAN, but M3GAN, the doll, is defeated, but it's sort of implied that the AI intelligence inside M3GAN lives on. And I would sort of position it where the second one, the bad guy is that original M3GAN AI who can like take over all this shit, and then and then there's a new M3GAN 2.0 that is the the equivalent of Arnold Schwarzenegger in the second movie. So someone who looks like the villain of the first movie but is actually helping out. I think that, but it's kind of a similar. It's kind of just a different version of that take. And then your idea for the third one is really wild. I remember.
Tell me the third one.
Okay, M3GAN in love. So M3GAN, like after the second one, where it's just like, look, I got to figure out what I am. I'm not quite a toy. I'm not a child. I got to just get out of here and find myself. So she goes off into the wilderness and kind of runs into like Oscar Isaac's Ex Machina character, like a genius recluse in the woods, and they fall in love. Which is he's way older than her, but like the whole idea is that this movie is going to be a metaphor for grooming, because what happens is like he meets her, he actually builds her like an adult body. This is how we like progress M3GAN into like she becomes adult, not just a kid. But what she quickly finds out is that like she thought they were on equal grounds. Wow, I'm an AI, you're a genius. We finally found something. But it comes pretty quickly relevant that like, oh, this guy just owns me. He thinks he owns me. He thinks he created me. I gotta get out of the situation. And I gotta get the other situation the only way M3GAN knows how. Fucking shit up!
Yeah, I love this.
Just fucks the guy up and gets out, and that I pictured ending with Taylor Swift's Anti-Hero. That's the song that plays when she like gets in the car and drives away. That's how I see this trilogy ending.
Nice.
I love it. Oh.
Call me Blue House. I got him. I'm right here.
That's good.
Get on the phone,
material.
Jason.
Writer's strike is over. You can buy his stuff now.
Mm-hmm. We just can't cast it.
Yeah. At least not for a minute. Let's move on to talking about horror for kids. Horror aimed at not adults, I guess, is maybe the more thing, because like horror aimed at kids, tweens, and teens. Edwin, do you have anything to say about the topic? Let's get you engaged here. What do you think about horror that's aimed at sort of younger audiences? And is there any favorites?
I think it should be some gruesome grindhouse horror movies, not for the kids, but for adults. I'm just saying, man.
So you don't think there's any place at all for horror movies and horror media aimed at younger.
I take that back. No, there is. As long as it's done right, I think the one that succeeds. No, I don't think that's the right movie to mention. I was gonna mention Hocus Pocus, but
I mean that counts. That's adjacent for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got some like adult themes in that movie, and especially with the zombie corpse, which is the best character in my opinion. But you know what? Actually, no. There is one movie. I think Nightmare Before Christmas is like the main one. I think that could have been a great horror movie, but it's marketed for kids. It's themed for kids, but some of the imagery in that movie are pretty scary, especially when you see a spoiler alert, by the way. But when we get to the scene where when they're singing about Oogie Boogie, and then by the climax they unveil what's underneath his claws for Oogie Boogie, it's like full of fucking bugs. Like, fuck, that freaked me out as a kid. That movie terrified me because I thought it was like really creepy.
Yeah, my parents didn't want me to rent Nightmare Before Christmas when I was 12 to watch it after having seen it as a kid. Because they were like, all Tim Burton wants to do is scare children. And I was like, that sounds fine to me. I'm a children and I want to be scared. Let's do it.
Also, controversial take. I think Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie, not a Halloween movie.
No, that's completely correct. He learns about the spirit of about the true meaning of Christmas just by ruining Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we face nerds.
I agree completely. I mean, I understand if you're kind of on the wimpier side of things and you want something extra to watch on Halloween, you probably have more for Christmas. But for as someone like me who finds Christmas kind of depressing at times, I like Halloween movies. I like horror movies more, and so Night Before Christmas is nice as a Halloween movie. And then there's also just the whole. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons why it's a Christmas movie. It's got Christmas in the title. It ends on Christmas. It's about not being selfish, which is every single Christmas movie ever is about thinking about others. And
it's a November movie. That's when it takes place. It's the movie you watch. Halloween's over. It's the transition. It's like
I watch
so you don't get the bends.
I watch it Christmas Eve.
Right, there you go.
Because I'm rocking Halloween all the way up till then.
Hey man, when the summer hits, it's all about Die Hard.
What the fuck are you talking about? When the summer hits?
I'm talking about
the summer?
No, that's a Christmas movie, motherfucker.
You just said the summer.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm talking about when it hits Christmas. I said Christmas.
You did not.
You did not.
Summer.
I said Christmas. I don't know.
You might have meant Christmas.
But you did not.
It's not what you said.
Say that. No.
Oh, wait, no. I said when December hits, it's all about Die Hard.
Oh, okay. All right.
We heard December as the summer.
Yeah.
The summer, yeah. Okay, sure, fine. That's... yeah.
I've got behind me. I rewatched something.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Courage the Cowardly Dog House, which scared me as a kid. I specifically rewatched King Ramsay's Curse and Freaky Fred episodes for this.
Yeah. Freaky Fred was the only one that did kind of scare me. It just freaked me out and I just didn't like watching it.
Yeah.
And then the King Ramsay's one was the one episode that terrified my brother so much that I could torture him for years just by doing the return the slab or suffer my curse. He would run out of the room. I would cackle.
There's something about that voice that as a kid is genuinely very return the slab and suffer the fate.
In conjunction with the terrible, not terrible, but the of its era 90s CGI that's just bad to look at.
Yeah.
When you're not in the 90s anymore. I loved Courage. Courage, except for Freaky Fred, never really scared me, but it was very spooky and I had a great time watching it. I loved all the monsters. I was saying this earlier, I and my brother were my mom's excuse to watch Courage because she loved it more than either of us did. Who, it's not for parents, but yeah,
it is.
I thought Courage was just, it is in the way that many cartoons are. I thought Courage was just terrific.
Yeah, I wanna just like, I think I might just throw that on to watch when I'm hanging out sometimes, because what a good cartoon.
Yeah.
What a weird cartoon.
I think Courage could have solved the Laura Palmer case.
Yeah, 100%. Courage meets Dale Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, they'd be so on each other's vibe. He'd be like, I think the dog's right. We should listen to him.
Yeah. And then Courage would like turn into a picture of Bob.
Yeah,
or whatever. Like but yeah, I had some other thing. We mentioned Goosebumps before the stream. Because that scared the shit out of me. I remember the most iconic Goosebumps being the mask one, in my opinion, or like that's the one that I always remember is the one.
I remember the green slime like going downstairs or something, or like a clown doll.
I remember those two. There's also the one with the like taking the picture at the barbecue and everyone's skeletons. I remember that one. But
yeah. I just Googled it. Yeah, I kind of remember this guy.
The mask,
yeah, creepy. He looks like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man.
Yeah, and the plot of that one was basically it was this mask that they put on and then they couldn't get it off. Like it wouldn't come off, and that one really freaked me out as a kid. The slime coming down the stairs. Now that I'm looking at it is pretty crazy, pretty good. $1,300 per month, no pets, you pay utilities. Yeah.
For the 90s, that is exorbitant. You better be getting this whole house. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Oof.
I remember there was one that wasn't very scary, but was like about like a kid who went to like a comic book company place, and there was a guy there, and like he had to fight the comic book man, and when he cut him, it like bled ink or something. I don't remember very well.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there was one where like a kid was at a camp and it was just like everyone's out to get me and stuff, and then it turned out he was right, but then he survives the ordeal, and then you just like the twist of the book is you find out it's like, oh good, this is all planned. We wanted to get you ready because we're headed to Earth. It's like, oh, they're aliens.
Shit.
Also scary stories to tell in the dark. That collection.
Yeah.
Those illustrations, they were so freaky. Loved them.
I don't want to say it's the original, but certainly like one of the very earlier ones is Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon, which was genuinely frightening. Like those were great, scary short stories.
I told Scott earlier that I only saw a couple episodes of that show because the commercials for them scared me so much. I was too afraid.
Yeah, so like age-wise, I could see like you being too young for it when it was on. But
I was 7.
Because even some of my like younger like cousins like wouldn't watch a few of the episodes, or like if they were over, it's like, oh, I can't wait to watch this. I have to wait to watch this because another one that was good that came out not all that recently, like in the last 10 years or so, Paranorman.
Loved Paranorman. Oh yeah, Leica's really been that. Coraline too was great.
Yeah. I think they got a good where it's like a great movie for kids, but it also it gets real enough where it's like sometimes it's scary, and it's one of those things where it's like kids can be scared. It's okay to be scared. Where it's like, what, this is scary. You're like they're scaring children. Like that's fine. It's not traumatizing them.
It is a human emotion, and you're allowed to feel it.
Yeah. I think one thing that like, even if I didn't really like Five Nights at Freddy's that much, I appreciate the existence of stuff like this, because I do feel like for a long time, and maybe as someone who doesn't interact with like kids media as much as I used to as a kid, because I'm not a pedophile, first of all. But I feel like things have gotten kind of, no offense, Ant, I'm joking, obviously. Things kind of felt like they were sanitized for a long time. Are you laughing at me justifying me being joking?
Just like I'm not a pedophile. No offense, Ant.
Yeah.
to all the pedophiles in the room, I don't want to offend anybody.
I just meant that she likes animation and works in it and stuff.
My background is from anime.
Yeah.
So.
I do feel like things. It feels like horror as a whole in the last couple of years has found like a real big foothold, and we've seen it kind of expand out into these things, and it's nice to see that kind of niche, because I feel like I can't remember there being I remember there being a lot of that stuff like in the 90s. Yeah. And then I don't really remember there being a lot of that kind of stuff in like the 2000s and a lot of the 2010s. Or I mean, unless I'm just like, maybe I'm just not seeing.
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head. And again, like you're right, I might not have been paying that close attention. Certainly had my eye out for it, but I can't. Like I said, like Paranorman and Caroline. But I don't think there's a whole lot.
Yeah. There's these little places here and there, and so it's just cool, you know, in my opinion, because I think there is very much so a place for that kind of stuff, and obviously it'd be nicer if they were more exciting than Five Nights at Freddy's. But hey, we got M3GAN, and that was PG-13, and you know. It's a fun, great movie, and I think in a weird way,
you know, it'd be another good like first slasher that came out recently is Happy Death Day.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
that's PG-13, and like funny too. That kind of hits a comedy, but like that'd be another one, maybe not for 10-year-olds, but like like middle schoolers first. Like I said, introduction to like the concept of slasher movies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also as a kid, I remember loving Gremlins, and that's another great one. Yeah. Good like introduction.
The first one is a good introduction to horror.
Yeah. The
second one is just great, an introduction to Gonzo.
Yeah. And Looney Tunes.
Yeah, introduction to perfection.
And then I just watched the first 3 Child's Play movies. Probably one of the biggest holes in my movie watching. And while they're not movies meant for children, they're also not like horribly violent. And so I could definitely see as like being a teen watching these, and especially because they really those 3 especially really play on the helplessness of being not an adult. And I could see as a kid watching that, and it'd be even more scary, because it's not just, oh, there's this murder doll. It's not just, oh, am I not going to die from the murder doll, but, oh, is the murder doll going to fuck up my whole life? Like, am I going to, like, I'm going to be put into foster homes, I'm going to be sent into military schools, I'm going to have my life fucking torn apart up and down. And so I can see as a kid. As an adult, you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is like a fun, tense, you know, kind of horror comedy. But as a kid, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, this would be the most upsetting thing in the world.
That's interesting. I only saw I think I saw the second one, but I mean, like you said, like, I think 14, 15. Like, I haven't seen them in years.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're perfect for like that age, and they're probably like extra upsetting and stuff. Yeah, I don't have much else in my notes. Other than I just have this weird side note, which I think in a weird way, the reason why, like, I think for the last, it used to be that blockbusters were blockbusters, but now, like, whenever a blockbuster comes out, you have people dismissing it as like, oh, that's a kid's movie. You know what I mean? Like, you hear that rhetoric from people a lot, and I wonder if there's a correlation to that sort of attitude shift towards like 4-quadrant movies and sort of grouping it together as a family movie and a kids movie, which to me are all kind of distinct things, has sort of contributed to the fact that there maybe until recently hasn't been as much like diversity in that field potentially. But I don't know.
I mean, I see that with animation all the time, but like just because something has a children as a primary intended audience or families as a primary intended audience, their accomplishments in the field get dismissed because children are not a worthy audience of creating stories for, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I think that's definitely probably something that is occurring here as well, that because this thing has children or families as its primary intended demographic, it's like, well, it's not real actually. It's not really a blockbuster. It's not really that. It's for It's for children, which is
for
its own
babies.
thing. It's for babies, and we're not babies.
Yeah.
We're real adults who watched Lawrence of Arabia on 70 millimeter at the Egyptian.
Yeah. Well, it's like this whole
we get tickets.
It's like this whole conflation where like again, kids movie, family movie, and blockbuster all mean the same thing to certain people now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of insane to me because to me that's very, very distinct. Like, you know, Paw Patrol movie, that was a kids movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Haunted Mansion movie that came out earlier. This is not me saying any sort of like quality judgment on any of these. I haven't seen any of them. That was like a family movie essentially, like the target of it, or well, kind of in between, I would guess. And then, you know, blockbusters are, everybody knows what those are. But
Star Wars is for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, and but it is annoying the way people dismiss that stuff like that. You got any other thoughts, Edwin?
No. Just trying to finish this Finance of Freddy movie.
You're watching it now? Perfect
Yeah,
timing.
I started to finish it. I'm at the point where Matthew Lillard is about to unveil himself as one of the Freddy dudes, whatever there are.
Spoilers. Let's see. I think it's time for us to move on to. I don't know why I'm setting up my transition if I haven't even gotten it ready yet. Probably because I'm a fucking moron. I minimize the window. Well, guys, Connor's Wicked Games, sponsored by Chris Isaac. Every week, like Jigsaw, I like to play a little game. This week, Too Scary for Kids. I used Common Sense Media, which I don't know if they're a good place or a bad place. I think they might be a bad, weirdo, conservative place. But they have a bunch of reviews parents have left for movies. And so I have, I'm going to read you guys some selected quotes from reviews of movies that parents have deemed too scary for kids. And I will say that all but one of these, I put in there's one little sneaky one, but all but one of these are ostensibly movies aimed at kids or families. And not necessarily movies for adults. And I think for today, we will just, everybody can just say what they want, and once everyone's answered, I'll assign points.
So we're guessing the movie?
Yeah, you're guessing the movie that this review, this abbreviated. I've done some copy editing on the reviews, and I found these movies through a couple of methods, mostly through some like listicles. I was like, kids movies that are too scary, you know, kind of thing. I tried to find like reviews. I tried to go to like news at first, but it was like impossible. I tried to be like, parents complain about such and such movie. All right, first off, and everyone can just answer when they got an idea. First review. This is far too scary. It's like the original mixed with Tales from the Dark Side. Stick with the generally acclaimed classic and/or the hotter 1978 version instead.
Wait, what? I wasn't listening. Again?
This is from a review of a movie. This is far too scary. It's like the original mixed with Tales from the Dark Side. Stick with the generally acclaimed classic and/or the hotter 1978 version instead.
I got nothing.
I'm gonna guess King Kong.
Yeah, I'm also thinking King Kong. Yeah.
It's Return to Oz. Which is a movie that is notably supposed to be very scary and weird.
Yeah.
I like how we both decided like King Kong sounds about right. Though.
That's a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
I was like, we were obviously in the same like. Yeah, I get.
Yeah.
I've never seen Return to Oz. It has no space in my brain.
Next one. This is not a movie appropriate for any 9-year-old unless you want them growing up to be a murderer. This movie is creepier than anything I've ever seen. The age recommendation is not correct. Take my advice and never watch this trash movie. The scary character, I did a little censoring there to not reveal too much, also eats bugs, and it is disgusting to watch. Pure evil is what this movie is. And I'll give an extra hint. We've mentioned it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Nightmare. It's Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's kind of what
I guess that Nightmare Before Christmas.
Y'all are really, really close. It's Coraline.
Oh.
Not Connor.
Sorry.
I guess they don't eat bugs; they're just made of bugs.
Yeah, I guess the mother eats the bugs in that. It's been a while since I've seen it. The 70s were a simpler time. Definitely a very intense, possibly frightening film, despite its cutesy exterior, but also a great film. It has a Criterion Collection release for a reason.
What?
The 70s were a simpler time, definitely a very intense, possibly frightening film, despite its cutesy exterior, but also a great film. It has a Criterion Collection release for a reason.
Terrible.
No ideas?
No ideas, yeah.
Star Wars.
It's
Watership Down.
Ah.
Oh yeah. I was trying to think of the thing with the name with the rabbit. I kept going back to Velveteen Rabbit.
The bunny rabbits.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry I made this one extra hard. It's been a while since I made one really hard. I feel like they've been easy lately.
Yeah, we should keep that going. The easy road. That seems to be the way to go.
Next one, rated G. This surprised me. I'm not usually squeamish about movie content, but this one got to me. It was far from the lighthearted original. The movie overall is quite dark and several uneasy scenes throughout, but one scene had me on the brink of shutting it off. For full disclosure, a dog nearly drowns. You've been warned.
Homeward Bound?
That's what I was thinking, like, but this is the sequel, so it's just like the one when they're in like San Francisco or whatever.
Yeah. Babe 2?
Edwin?
Dog nearly drowned in Babe 2?
Miles and Otis? I don't know.
So what are the final answers?
You know what? I might go. Yeah, Babe 2 might be.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Babe 2.
I think that's a good guess, actually. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say Miles and Otis. That's all I got.
You should have gone with them. They're right. That is Babe 2, Pig in the City. A dog not only nearly drowns, but gets its like hung and like falls into water, like a chain.
That movie is really dark.
It's like, really weird.
Yeah, it's incredible, but it's like, it's funny because there was Babe, which was produced by George Miller, but then he actually directed the sequel, and that's when he got full. Did he direct the first one too? Maybe
he wrote it.
But
no, he did.
Okay, he wrote it, but he just But yeah, like he directed that sequel, and he did full George Miller on it.
Oh, it looks like Paul is unofficially joining from the chat. He got Return to Oz and Babe, Pig in the City. It looks like. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm looking at chat now, Paul. I promise. All right, next one.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
I don't like this movie, although my daughter does. The title character creeps me out. I swear he has some sort of underlying mental disorder.
I got nothing. I refuse to answer your questions. These questions are hard. I refuse to do it.
They're too hard for Edwin.
Edwin, like I said, if you ever want, I've offered this before. I have special questions set aside just for you if you want one of those instead. If you,
I would like some of those, Alex.
All right. If you choose it, you can't back out.
Just keep going with the fucking question, Alex.
So you don't want your special question?
No, I don't want my special question.
Okay. Any guesses on this one?
My daughter likes it, but I don't.
The title character creeps me out. I swear he has some sort of underlying mental disorder.
Clifford. I'm gonna say Clifford. I don't give a shit.
Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, Little Nicky.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, fuck y'all.
And I mean, and you guys get, obviously, part of the joy of this is just reading these reviews.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
These reviews are hilarious. This one's the longest one. Paul thought it was Patch Adams. This next one. I remember watching this movie as a young elementary school child. At the time, it was only a minor and temporarily terrifying moment in my life that quickly faded into a memory. However, the fact that 10 years later it has returned to disturb my subconscious thought should be a warning to seriously consider before allowing small children to view this film. I think the main place that the plot takes a turn for the worst is when the main characters are reverted to primal beasts. Imagine harmless Olaf from the Disney movie Frozen turning into a dangerous and threatening monster halfway through the film. The forced transition from protagonist to antagonist is far too much for the brain of a child to begin to even comprehend or cope with without the gentle and loving guidance of a well-prepared adult.
I can see this scene that they're talking about in my head. I've seen this, and I think I've seen this anyway, but I cannot tell you what movie it is.
My first guess is just Pinocchio, which I don't think it is, because the whole the change from protagonist to antagonist isn't quite what happened.
Yeah. Pinocchio is a good guess, though, especially because they call out the human transformation. So something. Oh my God. Jumanji. I'm gonna guess Jumanji.
Edwin?
Beauty and the Beast.
This one is We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Yes, it is. Oh, yes, that does happen in We're Back, and it was pretty crazy.
It's really upsetting.
Wait, what happens? I haven't seen that.
The dinosaurs get super intelligent, so they're walking through town and singing and being people, and then they get reverted. Dr. Screw Eyes reverts them back to dinosaur-brained dinosaurs, so they're just turn into monsters.
So they started rampaging?
Huh?
So they started rampaging through the city?
I don't think they even start rampaging. They're just turned into beasts, and they don't know what's happening.
It's much more psychological. It's in this giant circus, this evil circus man, and he turns them into the beasts, and the main character, who's a kid or whatever, who meets these dinosaurs, is sort of surrounded in full darkness by these bestial versions of the characters with blank eyes and stuff. And
it was pretty upsetting. I think the freakiest part of that movie is when the crows pick Dr. Screw Eyes to death, though.
I don't remember that part, but
it was so fucking
dark
cool.
As hell. Hey,
John does a little dinosaur song, and then the third act has some insane shit in it. But the crows just descend upon him, and then then they fly away, and all that's left is just his screw eye.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up movie. Next up, the 6-year-old thought it was a little scary, and she asked a lot of questions throughout. I think it is best for tweens and up. The plot keeps you on your toes, but many things are not revealed until later, so you have to do a lot of thinking on your own. There are definitely some sad parts involving star-crossed lovers with murder and later a suicide.
No. I don't...
Is this Romeo and Juliet?
Edwin, you got any guesses?
Young Sherlock Holmes.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sherlock Gnomes too. I'm gonna go with Sherlock Gnomes as well.
This was Holes.
Oh.
Remember Holes?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is there a suicide? Oh wait, she killed herself with a fucking lizard. That's right.
Yeah, when Kissing Kate Barlow lets herself die. Oof.
So I loved
I've not seen it. or read the book?
It's Scott, you're missing out. Both are great.
This next one I have some extra context for. This review was left by user the Zodiac Killer. And he says, I saw plus thank the name of the movie was the best satirical comedy that I have ever seen. He also notes that the movie has too much consumerism and a little section Common Sense Media has, though he does not note any swearing, violence, sex, or anything else. No guesses?
No. Can you read it again one more time? And that's gonna okay.
It was left by the Zodiac Killer, and he says, I saw plus think this movie was the best satirical comedy, spelled really wrong, that I have ever seen. And then he also notes the movie has too much consumerism, though he does not note anything else about it. Because there's like a little section on there where you can note like, there's like the review section, but then there's like a form where it's like too scary, too much consumerism, too much violence, and the only one that they chose was too much consumerism. I
have no idea.
No guesses.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I got.
This is The Exorcist. This is the one non-kids movie.
It might be The Exorcist, but I wasn't sure.
I was like curious, so I was like, does Common Sense Media have like reviews of the fucking Exorcist? Like, what are those? Because like the whole thing is about like looking at stuff for kids, and I found this and it made me laugh.
Yeah, well, you know, they're right. Not for kids. I will.
All right.
I will stand behind that.
We got 3 more.
Okay, well now they're all kids movies going forward.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. A high quality cartoon which adults will probably like but may really scare young kids. My 8-year-old said it was almost too scary. This is basically Final Destination for kids. Which is the movie I want to see. Not this movie, but Final Destination for kids.
You said this was a cartoon?
A high-quality cartoon, which adults will probably like, but may scare young kids. Basically, Final Destination for kids.
I was just saying, is it Soul? Isn't that...
Oh, I didn't see Soul. Yeah, I'm coming up on blank. I'll go with Soul as well.
Edwin?
Meet the Robinsons, I guess. I don't know.
This was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
You know what? Haven't seen it. I get. Actually, that's not a bad take.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I just to say it's Final Destination, but like it is a movie definitely about like accepting your own mortality. Yeah.
Okay.
That movie was excellent, and it is. Yeah.
I need to see it. It's supposed to be really good.
Oh my gosh, Connor! When you watch it, please let me come over and watch it with you. I love that movie so much. Yeah.
Next up, this is a short one. They rip their fake faces off. There is a lot of violence. The book is good, but this is not for young children.
See, at first when you said they ripped their faces off, I don't know why, but I thought of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
But it's not based on a book.
Yeah, exactly. That's what stopped. I was like, oh, wait, no. Although, I love that novel. What are you talking about?
Ripped their face off.
Yeah, it's based on the Satyricon or whatever. Edwin, you don't know this one?
No. Sounds hard.
No.
Village of the Damned.
Any other guesses?
I don't know. I'm no, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm.
Paul says Silence of the Lambs. This is The Witches. Roald Dahl's The Witches, directed by.
I guess they do that at some point.
Nicholas Rogue.
Yeah, you should have guessed that one, Edwin.
I haven't seen it.
All right, last one. Like many of the parents here, I distinctly remember having watched this movie as a child. Let's just say I was mildly surprised to be confronted, nay, affronted by crude animation and language that sputtered things like hell, torture, kill, blood, etc. It's a deeply disturbing film.
It's a cartoon?
Oh.
Yep.
The Lord of the Rings movies? The Ralph Bakshi ones?
I wouldn't consider that a made for kids or families movie.
Repeat the vocabulary back to me.
Like many of the parents here, or the things that were said, I seem to remember watching this movie as a kid. Crude animation, language that sputtered things like hell, torture, kill, and blood.
Hunchback
Sleeping
of Notre
Beauty.
Dame.
I'll go. That actually seems like a good guess. Sleeping Beauty, yeah.
This was All Dogs Go to Heaven, apparently.
Oh.
Which has a bunch of stuff, and apparently has like a Lolita in it or something, because I cut that part out, but
Wait,
I don't remember.
what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, the little girl characters, something, right?
Wait, that's her name?
I don't think her name's Lolita, but I think she's like positioned potentially as you could read it like that, and that's how whoever wrote this review read it. They had more to say that I didn't include.
That's just because Burt Reynolds was the...
Yeah. Very low scoring. Ann and Scott both got 1 point. Edwin got 0. So Ann and Scott, per the rules, both get a gold medal, and Edwin gets nothing. Good day, sir.
Scott, high five.
Yeah.
I hate your questions, Connor. I hate them so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Connor, read us some of Edwin's special questions.
No, I gotta
None for
save.
Edwin, only Scott.
I have to save those. It's a surprise. It's a surprise for.
Oh, like they exist outside of the game.
Yeah. Essentially.
I see.
They're not. They're
Edwin.
not.
Yes.
Edwin, do you know Quentin Tarantino's home address yet?
No.
Still working on it?
That wasn't part of the plan, but I know where David Fincher lives.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to his house.
He lives in Los Feliz in a gated community near Griffith Park.
Well, let's not dox.
Okay.
David.
Yeah, I don't want to dox the guy with the Zodiac guy.
David Fincher. But anyways.
What is this, Mr.
Frasier
Gadget?
time. It's time to talk about Frasier. I did this 2 weeks ago and you interrupted it then. You gotta listen for like 5 seconds. You can't let noise play out for 5 seconds.
Clearly
What
not.
are you talking about?
We're talking about Frasier. The new episode
What
of
about my
Frasier.
thing?
Yeah, toss salad and MAGA eggs, man. How's it go? How is the new episode?
Yeah, the new...
It's good. It's another solid episode. I think each episode has gotten a little better. This episode, the most recent episode, centered on Freddie, Frasier's son's job as a firefighter, and took place on this firefighter set, and had a good emotional resolution where Freddie thinks that Frasier doesn't like him being a firefighter because he thinks it's below him, or he thinks it's a bullshit job. But you eventually find out that it has more to do with the way he has psychologically connected it to, as a kid, being worried about his dad coming home from being a cop, and had a good kind of emotional through line and good funny jokes. There's his nephew, Niles and Daphne's son, shows up, I guess, after being locked in the library for a weekend. And he's a big nerd, and all the other firefighters thinks he's an actual orphan the whole episode, and so they're treating him.
That's a pretty funny gag.
They're treating him with kids' gloves and trying to give him the best day he possibly can have.
So how do they explain why Niles isn't on the show?
He just doesn't live there.
Okay.
They're going to it's in Boston, and so Frasier's teaching at Harvard, and David, the son of Niles and Daphne, is also going to Harvard, and they just they live back in Seattle still, essentially.
Okay.
And so and then they have they've got Freddie's son, and he's got a couple coworkers.
Yeah. So are we gonna see any of the gang?
I'd say he can go to Cheers. Like who? Yeah.
We might. There's been. There's been references. There's like there was some joke in like the first episode where he's like he has some long-winded way of saying like there's something about Boston that makes me want to have a beer, or something like that.
Sure.
And we know that Lilith is in an episode sometime. And so I would assume potentially. I mean, how many of the cast of Cheers are still alive and acting? There's Woody Harrelson and Ted Danson.
I think most of them.
Yeah, Cliff is still. I mean,
yeah, I think honestly everyone except Christy Alley.
Yeah.
I thought one of the guys. Obviously, Coach isn't with us anymore, but he hasn't been with us for a very long time.
But that's
I thought one of the other guys died, because isn't one of the guys like a voice for, he does like Pixar? I'm forgetting the name.
Oh yeah, Ratzenberger just lost he didn't die. He just lost the gig because he's anti-vax.
Yeah, he's. Which means him and Woody Harrelson will get along.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it'll be a great time in the Cheers set.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh yeah, and Edwin. It's your time to shine.
Ah, son of a bitch.
With it's Edwin's cool stuff. You got anything to show us? Any horror for kids related stuff you could show us? Or you got like a Chucky poster? Anything?
No, but I have a VHS of Child's Play 2.
That's kind of cool.
That's pretty nice.
Is that sealed? It looks really nice.
No, it's open. I paid. I actually got this cheap. I actually got it for free. Yeah, I got it for free. Child's Play 2. What else? I guess I can show some of these. I got a still of John Huston for $50. A still of Goldie Hawn from Private Benjamin. On the left is Albert Brooks. That's pretty cool. Here we go. Here's Straw Dogs, still for Straw Dogs, where Dustin Hoffman's killing the Scotsman because they're trying to kill him. And this is my favorite one right here.
Are these like lobby cards?
Yeah, they're lobby cards, and there's Lee Marvin, the big ass machine gun, man. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Sick.
Press kit to Schlock that I picked up. Schlock right there. Schlock. Family friendly entertainment fun for the kids. And I just finished Five Nights at Freddy's right now. Kind of confused on what it means. He always comes back. So that means it's gonna be like another fucking horror character that always comes back, like Krueger, Jason, Michael. What does that mean?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. This is your generation. This is not ours. This is not ours.
You guys watched the movie. I thought you know the meaning behind it.
You watched the movie too. It's the Zoomers are into this one.
Zoomer. What the fuck is Zoomers?
Well, anything else? Anything else anyone wants to plug or shout out or talk about? I got a couple of movies that I've seen recently that I liked, but I kind of want to hold on talking about them for an episode we're doing in a couple of weeks. So if anyone else got something they want to shout out.
I'm reading a book right now.
Oh shoot! How is that?
It's okay. It's great. It's thoroughly researched, and so like a lot of information here. Not a lot of new information. Like it doesn't sound like they really necessarily got to the new details. It's a little bit more detailed on the Edgar Wright Ant-Man thing, but also not a whole lot that I didn't really know before. The most interesting part is honestly the stuff that happened before the studio even came together and how they put it together, and like just the giant bet. Like they essentially they got their money from Merrill Lynch to make the like Marvel Studios, and had Iron Man, and like they had enough for like 4 movies, and had those 4 movies panned out, they would have lost those characters for like quite a long time.
Wow.
Like, this whole thing just would have been, and yeah, it was just how close they were. This whole thing was just not happening, and it had nothing to do with creativity. It just had like Succession style executives one-upping each other, and you know, egos and stuff. So it's interesting. Inside baseball, and but I like, if you like the MCU and you're curious about how the sausage got made, I think this is a pretty good book on behind the scenes stuff. So
nice.
Excellent.
Did that just come out?
Yeah, I got it like early October, I think. So yeah, check it out.
Cool.
Nice.
I am reading Gideon the Ninth right now, which is very good so far. I just ended Act 1, so we're getting to the real meat of the story. If you guys don't know what that book is about, in the future ? It is a space opera about Gideon, who is the strong-armed into being the bodyguard for the necromancer of Pluto. And the 2 of them have to go to I guess is Mercury, and with all the other like necromancers in training, and then they have to solve a murder mystery. Apparently, is what happens.
Cool.
Right now, I haven't gotten any of that part. Like they just touched down on what I guess is Mercury, because in this book, this series of like, every planet has a house. So like, she's Gideon the Ninth because she's Gideon of the 9th house, which is Pluto. But they all just touch down. They have Gideon sees all of their ships being like thrown off the landing deck. So like they're all stuck there. And things are about to get pretty crazy. There's already skeletons there everywhere all the time. So that's fun.
Nice.
Movie Killers of the Flower Moon looks great. I'm excited to go see The Leftovers. Yeah, I don't know. Ceasefire Now. That's all I got to say right now.
Yeah. Edwin?
Just living, man. Just living.
Hell yeah.
And Vista is coming soon.
Yes, can't wait.
Be exciting.
Yeah.
Do you guys have an opening date or in mind?
November 17th.
Really,
Okay.
that soon?
Yeah.
Oh my God! What's the first movie you guys gonna? I mean, is this? Can we even air this?
I don't even know. They're not telling me anything.
Yeah.
I generally don't know what the first movie is, but all I know is that's the opening date.
Okay, well, if we can't know anything about this, please, Mr. Tarantino, don't shoot us. I'm so sorry.
Or at the very least, just shoot Edwin.
Yeah, you can shoot Edwin. That's fine.
I just want to say thank you to Brian Robert for composing our outro. I want to say follow us at CinemaCurse666 on TikTok and Instagram, and give this a like. Share it with your ex. Just to see what they would think. Not y'all specifically. Each week I'm trying to find a different, because obviously you think share it with your friends and family, but right, I'm trying to expand the network.
I know, just we all know my ex. Yeah. No, he doesn't get to know what we're up to.
And next week, Haunted Mansion special.
Wait.
And just kidding. Ha ha ha. We're talking about Elvis and Priscilla, the two movies, two sides of a coin. I don't know how to pitch this necessarily because I haven't seen Priscilla yet. I don't know how conflicting they are. I imagine pretty. And so it'll be interesting to talk about them because
I don't know if it'll be necessarily conflicting.
Yeah,
because like it felt more like Elvis just kind of wanted to gloss over that. Like just did not want to discuss that.
Yeah, because it's not like Elvis in the movie Elvis. It's obviously a very glam, very high, extravagant version of the story. But he's also not necessarily painted as the best dude at times, especially as the story goes on.
like they definitely mentioned the age gap once, and it's one of those things like you have to do the math and figure out what's going on. Like, he said something about like in 10 years, you know, like, and we've been together for 10 years, and maybe we'll be together in another 10 years when I'm 40 and you're 30. And I feel like you should just look at the camera and be like, sorry.
Yeah. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm curious to revisit Elvis, and I'm really excited for Priscilla. It looks great. So yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more. I already know next week's game is going to be extra like riddle based, where I'm going to create weird movie pairings like that, and people have to guess what they are. But
and I will be in San Francisco when that happens.
Oh yeah, you're going to be in San Francisco? You don't want to be on the Elvis episode?
We'll see.
You liked Elvis. You liked that movie.
I did. I thought it was amazing.
So, yeah.
I dug it too.
Yeah.
It's the only Baz Luhrmann movie I could stand to watch.
I don't necessarily share that, but I did really like it a lot.
Free Fire.
Yeah.
Nice. I watched that.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's it for today. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for joining, and I hope everyone has a blessed week and a beautiful, thankful November. And goodbye, citizens. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.